Well, as you know, we have thought that it would be interesting to have this discussion on climate change. Paris will host the conference COP21 on climate change at the end of the year in December. And I want to insist on the security problem and geopolitical. What we realize more and more is that one of the major consequences of climate change is the security risk, diminishing resources, in particular water, and the massive movement of refugees that climate change will create. We were looking for 4 results in Paris. We want a legally binding agreement. We want commitments of all the member states on their reduction of CO2. We want an agreement on funding to find additional funding for fighting climate change. And we want, that's the 4th one, what we call the agenda for solution, to turn them into something structured that we can follow. The agreement and the text of the agreement, it's about what kind of rule we have, how do we monitor the commitment that the country will take, how do we ensure that all which is around the question of commitment, but on adaptation, on transfer of technology, on funding, is integrated in a balanced way, between developed and developing countries. And we want it to be durable, sustainable. We don't want this agreement to be only for 5 years. The second pillar are the commitment. So it's called INDC. What we decided in Warsaw last year is that before the 31st of March, all the countries which are ready to do so should table their intended commitment of contribution for Paris. Financing component, very important for the reasons I said. In Copenhagen, that from 2020, every year the countries from the north would transfer to the south $100 billion on climate change, public and private money. In the short term, there is something called the Green Climate Fund, which was also created in Copenhagen, which is the fund specially allotted to fighting climate change, like you have the international development agencies for development, the Global Fund for fighting AIDS, and so on. This kind of fund that are replenished every 4 or 5 years. And we've been successful in launching the fund, and the first capitalization of $10 billion last year, with very generous contribution from France and Sweden in particular. But not only, but we are 2 of the main contributors. And finally, what we call the action agenda, again, all the initiatives complementary to the negotiating process. And you have thousands of them. We gave a list, but which is completely illustrative. You have companies taking initiative. You have finance institutions, especially the green pension funds, the green bonds for pension funds. And so we hope that Paris will be a big success, but so we need to say it's important to do what I'm doing in there, to tell everybody in the world that it's a massive stake for the future of humanity, that we don't have the right to fail. Thank you.